Hi, I'm Steve Perry. I'm the managing partner of the New York Life Insurance Company office here in Minnesota. I'm happy today to get to share with you a little bit about my story and my background. So, I was born in San Diego, California. My dad, he's a retired lieutenant commander, went to the Naval Academy. Now, when I was 9 years old, we moved up to Anchorage, Alaska. And so, moving up to Anchorage, Alaska, it's kind of a lot like you would expect. Very cold, very isolated. You kind of have this special sense of family where the friends that you meet there, they ultimately become your family. Now, my mom, she was a stay-at-home mom, and she raised me and my younger sister. My dad, he worked full-time in human resources. And growing up, we never really needed anything in life. However, there were a lot of things that we wanted. And if we wanted those things, typically, we'd have to save up and buy them for ourselves. We'd save our birthday money, Christmas money, or ultimately needed to get a job very young in life. So if I wanted to play sports, I'd have to use the money that I saved up to buy basketball shoes, pay the entry fee for the team. And it was really a great lesson that I learned early on in life. One thing about that money, though, is it only went so far. So when I was 14 years old, I got my first job as a commercial salmon fisherman. So if you've ever seen The Deadliest Catch on TV, that was me. 14-year-old, 98-pound Steve Perry out there in the ocean. Now that summer, I learned two things. Number one, I learned hard work. And when you work in the fishing industry, whenever it's open, meaning you're allowed to fish, you're fishing. So we would put in 100-hour work weeks, and I learned very quickly what it looked like to put in a long work week. Second thing I learned was that when I got my paycheck at the end of the season, I was very grateful because it was more and a lot bigger than a lot of my friends who had maybe worked at McDonald's all summer long. But the other thing that I noticed was that I can do math, and I knew how much fish we caught. I knew how much the price of fish was, and so I could kind of figure out how much the owner of the fishing boat was making and how much of that I got. So what I did was told myself, I want to own my own company, and that's exactly what happened. The next summer, when I was 15 years old, I started what would become Perry Pavement Services. Now, Perry Pavement Services was a full-service asphalt maintenance, crack sealing, driveway seal coating, asphalt repair, and the company that I used and I owned it for several years, really all the way through high school and college, and I used it to pay my way. I bought my first car with that, wrote checks all the way through college. In fact, I never even took out a student loan while I was in college. Instead, I was able to pay all the way through, mostly thanks to that business that I ran each summer. So that was my first experience with entrepreneurship. Now, the problem with that business was it was very weather dependent. And so as I kind of envisioned for the future, going in my senior year, getting my finance degree, I realized that I didn't want to run that company for the rest of my life. And the main reason being weather dependent was you live in Alaska, so you can enjoy the summertime. So very similar to Minnesota, that's what's important. Yet when you're in the asphalt maintenance business, you work all summer long. And so I knew that if I wanted to have a family someday and I wanted to enjoy that time with them, I was going to have to do something different. So I was looking for an opportunity. And we had a very good family friend who was a longtime successful New York Life agent. Actually had referred my mother to come in for an interview. And while it wasn't the right fit for my mom, she actually referred me to come in and meet with the managing partner. So I ended up interviewing with the managing partner, Rob Rossini, and he ended up hiring me. So I started my career with New York Life when I was 20 years old, going into my senior year of college. I spent the first 5 years of my career working as an agent, and then I became a registered representative of NYLIFE Securities in order to offer securities products and ultimately a financial advisor for Eagle Strategies so I could do financial planning. I was working with clients doing their insurance and retirement planning, and I found a niche working amongst young guys who had gone into the military or trade school right out of high school. They didn't do the college thing. And at that point in their career, they were making some pretty decent money. And so I kind of saw it as my job to help them save money versus blow it like a lot of their friends were doing. And so I had a good group of clients, and they referred me to their older siblings and older coworkers who had families, ultimately to their bosses, and that's where I built my book of business. So in 2011, I had built up that book of business, and the managing partner at the time, Mike Bookout, said, Steve, I'd like you to consider joining our management team. And so then I looked at, what does that career path look like? Ultimately, what I found is that was going to allow me to have a position where I got to be a leader. I got to build a team, develop, coach, and that seemed like a no-brainer for me. So in 2011, at 25 years old, I got promoted to partner up in the Alaska office. And my job now, instead of building a practice with clients, was to build a team. The first person I hired was actually more than twice as old as me. So I learned leadership very quickly on in that. I learned what it meant to coach and put others first. And so over a 5-year time frame, I grew that team from scratch to where we had over 35 people on that team. At 28 years old, I was promoted to senior partner. I was the youngest senior partner in the entire company at that time. In 2016, I got my first opportunity to become a managing partner. And that opportunity that arose moved me to Lubbock, Texas. And I got to take over as managing partner operations there for the office. When I got there in 2016, the office had about 55 agents. So myself and senior partner Danny Baker, we went to work and built that office. We did a lot of interviewing, recruiting, bringing the right people in and developing them. And over a 2-year time frame, we grew from 55 agents to 80. We moved from number 93 out of 116 offices all the way up to number 57 in less than 2.5 years. And it was there that we won 18 national trophies, which at that point had never been done in the 170-year history of New York Life. So we broke a record. We had a lot of fun. Things were going very, very well. Our management team had grown to 6 of us, and we were poised to just continue to grow exponentially. And then in 2019, right at the beginning of the year, early January, I received another opportunity. This opportunity was to move up to the Twin Cities in Minnesota with my family and take over the Minnesota General Office as managing partner of operations here. I looked at the demographics of Minnesota and quickly realized that based on the strong economy and population, the needs of the community, it would certainly support us to becoming the top producing New York Life office in the entire company, which has always been a goal that I've had. So my wife and I talked for about 30 minutes before we said, yep, that's what we want to do. So for all of 2019, we spent that time installing systems. The systems being the sales process. What does training look like? How do we onboard new agents and new financial professionals? How do we interview them and select the right people? And then what does the coaching and development look like when they are on the team? How do we help them grow? One of the things that we found were people crave systems. People want to be part of a family and have a system. So we spent a lot of time working on New York Life's mission, vision, values, and beliefs in the Minnesota office, ultimately laying the foundation or platform for the type of growth that I honestly don't think that this company is ever going to see before. So I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for the upcoming decade of dominance that the Minnesota General Office is going to experience and getting to play a part in that. I have to tell you that if you look at my career path and all the wins and challenges that I've had, one of the things I want you to notice is how many times I've started over. You see, I was an agent for nearly 5 years. When I finally got that book of business up and running and things were running really smooth, I gave all of that up to transition to a leadership position and start all over with this team from scratch. And then I did that for 5 years. And then after 5 years of that, I took another opportunity to start all over and move to West Texas, where I knew nobody. And we started building on the office that was already there. After 2 years there, I started all over again here in Minnesota. Now, the nice part is Minnesota, that's it for us. This is where we're going to raise our family. This is where we're excited to spend the next 20, 30 years of our career. But I'm in the middle of a growth mode myself right now. What I know for you is that this is potentially going to be a big risk. This is potentially going to be a bigger change in your life, and it's going to require more growth for you than you've ever had to do before. And I want you to know that I'm right there with you. I'm right in the middle of that process myself. I'm not the kind of leader, I'm not the kind of managing partner who sits back and watches everyone do their job. I'm right in there with you, and I can't win if you don't win. So we're in this together. I'm excited about that. I'm excited that we get to work together in that. last thing I want to do is introduce you to my family. So this is my beautiful wife, Tabitha. We've been married since 2011. Now, she's the brains of our operation. She's got her master's degree in social work. She runs her own company doing life coaching for female business owners and the wives of executives, helping them build their best life. These are my two awesome little girls. Lily, who was born in Alaska in 2014, and Liberty, our Texan, who was born in 2016. Now, Lily's all about sports and running around video games, going golfing with dad, and just having a blast. You can't catch her anytime in anything but shorts. Now, Liberty, she's my little princess. She's an artist. She's always in princess dresses and crowns and makeup and jewelry. I love my family so much. I'm so excited that I'm in a career that allows me to spend the important moments with them and really have autonomy over my time and spend time on the values of the family unit, just like we all value the business. So that's my story. I appreciate you letting me share that with you. I'm looking forward to continuing to get to know your story more soon.